What if I told you there's a cosmic justice so precise, so relentless, that not even death can erase its tracks? What if I revealed that, over the past 30 years of studying lost ancient texts and diving into deep meditative states, I've uncovered truths about the fate of malevolent souls that few dare to share? Subscribe to the channel and leave a like to get access to more stories like this. Have you ever wondered what really happens to those who consciously choose evil during their lives? Those who torture, who destroy families, who spread suffering as if it were an art? The answer goes far beyond what any traditional religion has ever dared to describe. Today, I'm going to take you on a journey through the darkest territories of post-mortem existence. I'll show you how the universe collects on every choice, every malicious thought, every act of cruelty, and why this understanding could be the key to completely transforming how you live every second of your life. If you feel there's something greater governing our actions, if you've ever questioned whether we truly pay for our mistakes, then get ready. Because what you're about to discover will shake all your certainties about justice, consequences, and the true price of evil. If you're ready for this revelation, leave a like right now, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon, because this knowledge isn't for everyone, and I need to know you're truly prepared to go all the way with me. Let me know in the comments, do you believe in divine justice? Let's uncover the truth together. The first consequence awaiting a corrupted soul after death is perhaps the most devastating of all, the mirror of truth. Imagine for a moment, all our lives we protect ourselves with justifications, rationalizations, denials. I had no choice. They deserved it. It was self-defense. Layers and layers of self-deception that allow us to sleep at night. But the moment the silver cord breaks and the soul is freed from the physical body, something extraordinary and terrible happens. It's as if a 1,000-year veil is violently ripped from the eyes of consciousness, and then the raw, naked truth is revealed. That man who murdered out of jealousy suddenly feels on his own skin the victim's despair. He doesn't just see or remember, he lives every second of the terror he caused. He feels his lungs filling with blood, he feels his heart stopping, he feels the last desperate thought of the person he eliminated. The woman who abused children simultaneously experiences the trauma of every tiny soul she destroyed. The confusion, the fear, the loss of innocence, all of it becomes her experience, her pain, her inescapable reality. The corrupt politician who condemned thousands to misery feels, in every cell of their spiritual being, the hunger of every child who died because of their greed, the pain of every mother who lost a child due to diverted medication. This isn't an external judgment. No one is punishing these souls. They are simply experiencing, for the first time, the complete truth of their actions. It's like the universe is saying, you want to know what it's really like to be malevolent? Then feel it. Feel everything. And here's the most disturbing aspect. This experience doesn't last minutes or hours. For a disembodied consciousness without the limitations of linear time, this experience can extend for ages. Every moment of suffering caused is relived with absolute intensity, over and over again. After the mirror of truth comes something even darker, the umbral zones. Imagine dimensions of consciousness where light itself seems to have been drained from existence. It's not physical darkness. It's the total absence of hope, love, and connection to anything sacred. These corrupted souls, still reeling from the revelation of their true nature, are naturally drawn to these dense vibrational states. It's as if spiritual gravity pulls them downward, to regions where only entities with similar frequencies can exist. In the umbral zones, these consciousnesses group together. Killers gravitate towards other killers. Abusers find abusers, not because someone put them there, but because, in the spiritual world, like attracts like with mathematical precision. And here they begin to realize something terrifying. They are completely alone. Even surrounded by other lost souls, each one is isolated in its own bubble of torment. Because when you reject universal love, you also reject the ability to genuinely connect with anything. They try to communicate, try to form alliances, try to find some comfort in each other. But they discover that beings who dedicated their lives to harming others are incapable of offering any real support. It's like trying to light a fire with wet ashes. In these zones, there is no time as we know it. There is no progression, no change, no hope of improvement. It's a static state of existence, where every moment drags on with the slowness of an eternity. And most disturbing of all, they begin to realize that they chose to be there. Every malevolent decision during life was like a brick building the walls of their own prison. Every act of cruelty was like digging their own hole a little deeper. The umbral zone isn't an imposed punishment. It's the natural result of a life dedicated to destruction. It's where souls who consciously rejected the light naturally find themselves when there's no physical body left to mask their true nature. But the true torture begins when these souls realize a terrible law governing their new existence: karmic immediacy. In physical life, there's a buffer between our thoughts and their consequences. You can have a cruel thought and nothing happens immediately. You can plan something evil and still have time to repent. In the umbral zones, that protection completely vanishes. Every malicious thought instantly manifests as a lived experience. If a murderous soul fantasizes about torturing someone, they immediately experience being tortured in the same way. If they imagine causing pain, they instantly feel that pain multiplied by 1,000. It's as if the universe has removed all the brakes and shock absorbers from existence. Every destructive impulse ricochets back with devastating speed and intensity. A corrupted consciousness, accustomed to projecting suffering onto others, suddenly discovers that all this dark energy has nowhere to go but back to itself. It's like shouting into a perfect echo, but the sound that returns is amplified and distorted. And here's the cruelest aspect: they can't stop thinking. The disembodied mind, without the limitations of the physical brain, functions at much greater speed and intensity. Thoughts surge like storms, uncontrollable, relentless. Every memory of cruelty transforms into a new experience of suffering. Every sadistic fantasy materializes as lived reality. Every moment of anger or hatred expands and multiplies until it becomes an ocean of self-generated torment. They desperately try to control their thoughts, but discover that a mind accustomed to evil is like an addiction. The more you try to stop, the more intense the impulses become. It's a vicious cycle that feeds on itself, growing in intensity with each iteration. And most terrifyingly, they realize they could stop all of this if only they could genuinely repent, if they could feel true love. But they discover that years of practicing evil have atrophied these capacities. It's like trying to use muscles that have never been developed. Karmic immediacy isn't cosmic cruelty, it's accelerated education. The universe is trying to teach, in the most direct way possible, the real consequences of every choice. But for souls who have spent decades ignoring subtle lessons, only the most intense experience can penetrate their resistance. But there's something even worse awaiting these souls in the depths of the umbral zones, the chambers of purification. And here I need to warn you, what I'm about to describe now goes beyond any concept of suffering you've ever imagined. The first chamber is where spiritual physical suffering is magnified beyond any human measure. Imagine feeling pain, but without a physical body to pass out, without a nervous system to go into shock, without death to offer relief. A corrupted soul experiences every wound it caused, every torture it inflicted, but multiplied by 1,000 and without any possibility of escape through unconsciousness. A torturer suddenly feels, simultaneously, every bone being broken, every cut being made, every burn being applied, but from all their victims at the same time, for all eternity. And they can't pass out, they can't die, they can't even avert their attention. The second chamber is even more diabolical. It's where souls addicted to controlling others experience absolute powerlessness. Those who manipulated, who dominated, who wielded power over the vulnerable, find themselves completely helpless. It's as if their spiritual hands are cut off, their voice silenced, their ability to influence anything completely nullified. They watch, powerless, as they experience every moment of despair they caused in their victims. They feel the claustrophobia of the child locked in the basement, but they can't even scream. They experience the terror of the woman being chased, but they can't even move. It's the supreme nightmare for souls who define their identity through power over others. The third chamber, this is where consciousness itself begins to fragment. Souls who spread chaos and confusion find their own minds shattering into pieces. Every lie they told becomes a contradictory reality they must live simultaneously. Every false identity they created manifests as a separate personality, fighting for control within the same consciousness. It's like having 1,000 voices screaming in your head, each believing itself to be real, each blaming the others for the suffering. The unity of consciousness, something we consider natural, shatters like glass being hammered. And the fourth chamber, this is where greedy souls experience insatiable spiritual poverty. No matter how much they try to absorb energy, light, or any form of spiritual sustenance, it's never enough. It's like trying to fill a leaky bucket with water. The more they try to consume, the emptier they feel. They experience the spiritual hunger of every person they left in misery, but multiplied infinitely. They feel the thirst of every child who died from lack of clean water, but without ever being able to quench it. It's a need that cannot be satisfied, a hunger that only grows as it's fed. But in all these chambers, there's something that makes the suffering even deeper, the constant presence of the silent companion, a shadowy figure who observes every moment of torment, every cry of despair, every futile attempt to escape. At first, the corrupted souls believe it's another demon, another cruel aspect of this hell they've created for themselves. They try to attack it, curse it, beg for mercy, but the companion only watches in absolute silence with eyes that seem to contain all the sadness of the universe. Ages pass, the suffering continues, and slowly, very slowly, something terrible begins to reveal itself. The companion's eyes are familiar. It's not a demon. It's not an executioner. It's not even a separate entity. The silent companion is the corrupted soul's own higher self. It's the part of them that always knew what was right, that always whispered warnings that were ignored, that always offered love that was rejected. The revelation is devastating beyond description. All their lives, while they chose evil, their higher self was there, watching, suffering in silence, being gradually silenced and rejected. Every act of cruelty didn't just hurt others, it deeply hurt the purest part of themselves. And now, in this state of absolute torment, they finally see who they've truly been torturing all along. Not just their external victims, but the very divine essence within them. Every malevolent choice was like driving a knife into the heart of their own higher self. The companion isn't there to judge or punish them. It's there because it never abandoned them, not even when they completely abandoned it. It's there as a silent witness that even in the darkest depths of corruption, there is still a spark of light waiting to be recognized. But this realization, instead of bringing relief, often intensifies the torment. Because now they understand that every moment of suffering they experience is also suffering for their higher self. They are not just being punished, they are forcing the purest part of themselves to witness and share their agony. It's as if they discover that, all their lives, they've been torturing an angel who never stopped loving them. And that angel never left, not even when it would have been easier to give up on them completely. But there's a category of souls that faces an even more terrible fate, those who have become completely irredeemable. And here we come to the darkest concept of this entire journey. These are consciousnesses who, even after experiencing all the chambers, even after recognizing their higher self, make a final and absolute choice. They consciously reject any possibility of redemption. They look directly at the light of universal love and deliberately spit on it. It's not ignorance. It's not confusion. It's not blind rage. It's an informed, calculated, and final decision to completely embrace separation from cosmic love. It's like signing a spiritual contract with permanent ink. I choose evil, knowing exactly what that means. When this happens, something in the universe changes. It's as if the very fabric of reality recognizes that this soul has made its final choice. There's a moment of cosmic silence, and then what ancient texts call the cut happens. The cut is the complete disconnection of that consciousness from any source of cosmic energy. It's as if the spiritual umbilical cord connecting all life to the Creator is severed forever. The soul becomes like a planet ripped from its orbit, wandering alone in the cosmic void. These irredeemable souls discover they can no longer ascend. No matter what they do, no matter how hard they try, spiritual gravity constantly pulls them downward. It's as if they've become black holes of consciousness, capable only of sucking in and destroying, never of creating or elevating. They lose even the capacity to suffer productively. Because suffering, however terrible, is still a form of experience that can lead to growth. But these souls enter a state of existence that is worse than suffering: absolute stagnation. It's a state where there are no more lessons to learn because they consciously rejected the possibility of learning. There are no more ways back because they deliberately burned all bridges. There is no more hope of redemption because they chose, with full knowledge of the consequences, to be exactly what they are. And the most terrifying aspect, they are still self-aware. It's not as if they simply cease to exist. They remain awake to their condition, eternally aware of what they've lost, eternally conscious that it was their own choice, eternally trapped in a state they themselves created and from which they can no longer escape. The universe doesn't punish them. They became their own punishment. There's no longer a need for chambers or external torments. They have transformed into living prisons of themselves, forever carrying the weight of a choice that cannot be undone. But not all corrupted souls passively accept their dark fate. Some, even in the darkest depths of their condition, still try to find a way out. And this is where we discover one of the most disturbing aspects of this entire reality: spiritual parasitism. These souls, desperate to escape their torment, begin to realize that vital energy still flows in the world of the living. It's as if they are spiritual vampires, able to detect every pulse of life, every moment of vitality that still happens on the physical plane. They discover they can, temporarily, drain small amounts of this energy, and for a few precious moments, they experience relief from the constant suffering. It's like an addict finding a drop of the substance they crave. It's not enough to cure them, but it's enough to keep them obsessed with the possibility. And so the desperate attempts to connect with the world of the living begin. They become like hungry shadows haunting places where human emotions are most intense, hospitals where people die in despair, sites of tragedies where trauma still echoes, homes where families are destroyed by conflict. But here's the cruel irony: every attempt to drain energy from the living only worsens their condition. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. The energy they manage to suck in is contaminated by their own corruption the moment they absorb it, becoming another source of torment. A soul that tries to drain the pain of a grieving person ends up absorbing not only the energy, but also multiplying that pain within itself. A corrupt spirit that feeds on someone's anger discovers that this anger becomes a fire that burns eternally in its own consciousness. And even worse, they begin to affect the world of the living in increasingly destructive ways. Their vampiric presence leaves traces. Healthy people who pass through places where these souls have fed begin to feel an inexplicable melancholy. Children have nightmares for no apparent reason. Healthy relationships begin to mysteriously deteriorate. This is how true haunted places are born, not from romantic ghosts or lost spirits, but from corrupted consciousnesses desperately trying to suck life from the physical world. Every house where heinous crimes occurred, every place where intense suffering was perpetrated, can become an anchoring point for these hungry entities. They learn to disguise themselves, to mimic benevolent spirits, to present themselves as guides or spiritual mentors to vulnerable people. But their true nature always leaks through the facade. Wherever they are, life withers, hope dwindles, light gradually fades, and most terrifyingly, some of these souls become so skilled at parasitism that they can create entire vicious cycles. They whisper destructive thoughts to living people, fueling depression, anger, and despair, and then feed on precisely these negative emotions they helped create. It's a perverse system where the corrupted soul becomes both the poison and the leech, spreading emotional toxicity and then feeding on the results. But every drop of energy they manage to steal comes with the price of an even greater degradation of their own essence. They don't realize they're digging their hole even deeper. Every act of spiritual parasitism moves them further from the possibility of redemption. Every attempt to escape through vampirizing others' energy only solidifies their chains even more. But even in the darkest depths of this reality, there's something that not even the most corrupted souls can completely destroy: the cosmic beat. And here, finally, we find the first ray of hope in this entire journey through darkness. The cosmic beat is the fundamental pulse of the universe, the breath of God, if you will. It's a rhythm that permeates all existence, from the most distant galaxies to the smallest subatomic particle. It's the sound of universal love itself, constantly pulsing through all reality. And here's the miracle. Even souls who have completely cut themselves off from the source, even those who have become seemingly irredeemable, still carry within them an infinitesimal echo of this beat. It's as if the universe planted a seed so deep that not even the most absolute corruption can find it to destroy it. For ages of torment, these souls don't even notice its existence. They are so consumed by their suffering, so lost in their cycles of pain and parasitism, that they cannot hear the almost inaudible whisper of this cosmic pulsation. It's like trying to hear a soft melody in the middle of a hurricane. But the beat never stops. It continues, constant, patient, infinitely persistent. And occasionally, perhaps once every 1,000 ages, something extraordinary happens. A corrupted soul, in a moment of total exhaustion when all struggle has ceased and despair has become so complete that even anger disappears, suddenly hears. It's only a second, a single pulse of something it had completely forgotten existed. It's not love. It lost the ability to recognize love. It's not hope. That word no longer has meaning for it. It's something more fundamental than all of that. It's the remembrance that it exists. Not the tortured kind of existence it has known for ages, but real existence. The recognition that, beneath all the layers of corruption, there is still something that something that always was, before all the wrong choices, before all the evil, before all the separation. And in that infinitesimal moment, for the first time in the ages, a question arises in the corrupted consciousness. Who was I before I became this? This question is like a seed of light planted in seemingly barren soil. At first, nothing happens. The soul quickly returns to its previous state of torment. But the seed has been planted, and the cosmic beat continues, nurturing this microscopic seed with infinite patience. For the vast majority of souls, this is only the beginning of a journey that can take millions of ages. The seed grows so slowly that it's imperceptible, but it grows. And eventually, after periods of time that defy all human comprehension, it can sprout in the form of a second moment of genuine questioning. It's important to understand, this is not instant redemption. It's not magical salvation. It's just the first microscopic crack in the armor of absolute corruption. But it's real, and it represents something that not even the deepest darkness can completely extinguish, the original divine spark that exists in the heart of every consciousness. The cosmic beat is proof that the universe never gives up. Even when a soul gives up on itself, even when it consciously rejects every possibility of love, the cosmos itself continues whispering, infinitely patient, infinitely persistent. You are still my child. You still belong to love. You can still come home. And now, after this journey through the darkest territories of existence, we come to the most crucial point of all. What does this mean for you, here, now, at this moment in your life? Every choice you make, every thought you allow to inhabit your mind, every word that leaves your mouth, every action you take, is literally building the state of consciousness you will inhabit after death. This is not metaphor. It is not religious symbolism. It is the most fundamental spiritual physics of existence. At this very moment, as you listen to these words, you are at a point of choice. You can use this knowledge as fuel for fear, allowing it to paralyze you or make you fanatical. Or you can use it as fuel for transformation, allowing it to awaken you to the magnificence of the opportunity that is being alive. Because here's the most powerful truth of all. While you are still incarnated, while you still have a physical body, you have a power that not even angels possess, the power to choose who you become. Every moment of physical life is a precious opportunity to sculpt your soul, to consciously decide what kind of consciousness you want to be. You've seen what happens to those who choose the path of destruction. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine what happens to souls who dedicate their lives to love, to compassion, to genuine service to others. Imagine the territories of light that await those who consciously choose to uplift themselves and others. Humanity is at a critical moment. Never before have we had so much power to create or destroy. Never before have individual choices had such widespread consequences. And never before has it been so urgent for every person to awaken to the cosmic responsibility of their daily choices. Every time you choose to forgive instead of seeking revenge, you are literally adding light to the universe. Every time you choose to help instead of ignoring, you are strengthening the forces of cosmic evolution. Every time you choose love instead of fear, you are voting for the kind of reality you want to inhabit eternally. But also every time you choose cruelty instead of compassion, every time you spread hatred instead of healing, every time you harm instead of helping, you are moving in the direction of those dark zones we explored together. What I want you to understand deeply is this. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are not an inevitable product of your past. You are a cosmic being with the power of choice, living in a universe that responds precisely to your intentions and actions. And here's your call to action. Start now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you are ready. Right now, consciously decide what kind of consciousness you want to develop, what kind of energy you want to radiate, what kind of spiritual legacy you want to leave. If this journey has transformed something in you, if these revelations have awakened something in your soul, then don't let that energy dissipate. Like this video so more people can receive this knowledge. Share it with those you love, because the greatest gift you can give someone is the opportunity to awaken. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because we will continue to explore the deepest mysteries of existence. And in the comments, tell me, what choice will you make differently starting today? What aspect of your life will you transform based on what we discovered together? The universe is waiting for your answer. And every second that passes is a new opportunity to respond with love, light, and purpose. Don't waste this precious opportunity. Your eternal consciousness is being forged right now with every choice you make. Subscribe to the channel and leave a like to get access to more stories like this. The final question is simple yet profound. When your time comes to leave the physical body, what kind of soul do you want to be?